News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis. Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Welcome to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning.
I'm Allan Gilbreth with darkoakmedia.com.
And I'm Maximilian, and I'm very happy I'm not celebrating this holiday with you all, and that is Be Bald and Be Free Day.
Hey, how about that, Allan? I didn't know we had a holiday.
We do indeed.
Be bald, be free.
Yeah, Max, there are only so many perfect heads in the world. The rest had to be covered with hair.
There you go. See, Max. But I'm curious about this be bald and be free. Is there somehow that you're not free if you don't have any hair?
Well, some of us are wearing hats and some of us aren't.
Okay. Well, I don't like sunburn, so
Yeah,
that's why I wear a
amen to
hat.
that.
So, but okay.
I mean, I know
Inside
that
the building.
I know that being bald has its tactical advantages, so to say.
You save money on barbers. You
Oh,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
No, I
mean,
meant literal
shampoo.
combat tactical advantages.
Oh, really?
Well, you don't get your hair tangled up in anything.
Or
Yeah.
or an opponent doesn't accidentally yank you by the hair.
Yeah. I mean, there's all sorts of great things about it. So,
And
if
I
you're,
own stock in turtle wax, but it's okay.
there you go. If you're out there and you're celebrating Be Bald and Be Free Day, let us
Absolutely.
know exactly how you're doing it. I mean, I could go bowling. That's
Oh,
one
yeah.
thought.
Well, see, my favorite thing
Play
is-
billiards.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cue
well-
ball.
Well, my favorite thing is you gotta have a convertible.
Yeah.
And that way you get two guys with hairstyles like eyes in it. And as we're driving off, it looks like aliens stole your car.
There you go. I mean, the possibilities are endless. So this is a good one, Max. This one I really hope people will chime in on. If you want to chime in on this, you can call or text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989. We also invite you to go digital. Well, I should say get on the social medias. How's that? You can watch the show on the News Talk 98.9 The Roar Facebook page, and also I believe their X page. Is it up there today, Max?
It is indeed.
Okay. So after you've done all that, then scoot on over to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page and see the posts we've made over there. I already posted our must-have item of the week, which we're going to get to earlier. We're going to shake things up, Allan, because we have in the house, of course, is our good buddy Jay Hill with Big M Roofing and Remodeling. So if you've got any roofing or gutters or siding or window talk that you want to find out about,
exterior today.
it's a perfect time. Jay's going to be in here shortly to discuss that with us. So, so we're mixing it up. We're going to get to our must-have item of the week sooner than later, and it's curiously timed too, because there's an interesting event coming up shortly, Allan. It's going to be, hopefully when we get out of here, we're going to be able to participate in this event. So, okay, so in our great moments in building history, this is, it is that time of the year. So Allan's been remarkably good. He hasn't overloaded us with Halloween talk, but
Nope.
we're going to indulge him today in great moments in building history. We're going to talk about the Woodruff Fontaine House right here in Memphis, right?
Absolutely.
What is that, Adams Street?
Yes.
That's an appropriate name. Now that I think of it, the Adams family, the whole. Okay, I don't know why I just got that.
It just keeps piling up. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got that. We do. We're gonna. I hopefully get to our historically terrible, which I'm not going to tease just in case, but I think we are going to get to that because
You don't want to make any faux promises?
Yeah, it's a fun one. So, and I'm looking at our list. I'm not over teasing anything. You know what? Just stay tuned. You're going to have to stick by us and trust that we've got plenty to talk about. So, but as I said, we're going to get to our must-have item of the week right now, Max. So, let's see. I've got them right here. It's very lightweight. I'm holding these up to the camera, Allan, and tell people what I'm holding up.
Okay. Well, they look like a cheap pair of movie 3D glasses, but what you are actually holding up is some wonderful eye protection for today that will allow you to observe an eclipse.
Yeah. So today, okay, now you can inform me on this. I thought it's a partial eclipse, which is totally different than but it's still going to get a little darker around here,
we
right?
have a lot of friends that are sitting over there scattered between Oregon and Texas that are actually going to get to see the full solar eclipse complete with the Ring of Fire.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And that is you can really, if you've ever seen one of these things, you can really, really understand how throughout history of people looked up in the sky and thought this is it.
The world's
It's
ending.
over.
Right.
We're done.
Yeah.
Because the Ring of Fire Corona discharge display is absolutely stunning. And quite a few members of the Memphis Astronomical Society, very good friends of ours.
Oh, yeah.
They are, again, scattered all over western United States.
Well,
Ready
I
for
wonder,
this now? We get a pretty good partial eclipse.
Right.
So you're going to get to see the Pac-Man effect. You're going to get to see the little the black thing is going to be taking a little bite out of the sun. And all right, here's where we're really going to get into optics.
Yeah.
Because the sun produces a dramatic number of wavelengths from the visible spectrum, everything from X-rays to gamma rays.
Sure.
So what happens when you change anything about how to look at the sun is that you get more or less of certain types of radiation.
Oh, yeah.
It's never a good idea to look into the sun with your naked eye anyway.
Well, of course, yeah.
Yeah. And we are protected by our atmosphere from a lot of the radiation the sun puts out, which is why people that live high on mountaintops often develop cataracts.
Oh, that makes sense, yeah.
Because the sun
Less
is so much
protection.
more intense, less protection from the atmosphere. For those of us down here, you want to have something that will filter out the UV radiation that will be coming through so that you can enjoy seeing the eclipse.
The other thing, too, is there's a good reason to get these because, okay, well, it's a partial eclipse now, but it's coming up, what is it, in April?
We got
coming up
another
this year.
shot,
We're getting a full eclipse, and you only have to drive, I think, 30 minutes or so. I think you head into Arkansas. It's not that far away from Memphis. We're definitely making the trek because they say the difference between a partial eclipse and a full eclipse is there's no comparison. It is one
stunning.
Yeah, and if you have an opportunity, if you've got kids, if you're even partially interested, you should do it. They say it's life-changing for some people. It's a pretty cool
when you
phenomenon.
when you actually see the Ring of Fire, it is I think the best phrase I can use for it is it's absolutely medieval.
It is, yeah.
This is just something you see, you see in a movie. It's not something that's real, but it's real.
Yeah, so that's coming up, and I guess today, so when you have these glasses, and also, I mean, if you have welding goggles or a welding mask, you could use that as well, but it's not like
ain't going to cut it.
It's not like this is a 5-minute thing. I mean, right? I thought it starts, and you can just sit there around 10:30, and you can just watch it drift. And I believe the most coverage happens around noon. So
yeah, the actual Ring of Fire when you're under it only lasts a few moments.
Okay. Yeah.
But the eclipse takes hours.
Yeah, so get out there today with your safety protection.
Yes, with some eye protection.
Watch the eclipse. So, all right, Allan, we're doing it. When we come back here on Tool Talk Radio, historically terrible ideas, the overuse of faux finishing.
No.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Good news, everyone! Someone's home is on fire!
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
Okay, that guy's just out of his mind. Anyway, welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studio.
I hate to let you know, but he's actually bald as well.
Oh, yeah. Professor
big
Farnsworth.
time.
That's a good point. So, okay. Well, good for him. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry, and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com and our pal Max over there behind the glass. You can call or text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989. As a matter of fact, it's a good day to do it because our good buddy Jay Hill with Big M Roofing and Remodeling, the man who paid for that hotline, is going to be in the house here shortly. So he's, if you have any roofing or really anything to do with the exterior protection of your home, this is the day to give him a call. So, but also we invite you to go over to the social medias and watch the show. You can check out the show on the, the News Talk 98.9, the Roar Facebook page is broadcasting the show, the video. And then you could also watch it on the News Talk 98.9, the Roar X page. And then, of course, while you're on social media, scoot on over to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page and check out the posts we've made over there. So, all right. Well, I've been looking forward to this discussion. And by the way, before we even jump into this, you can send your hate mail directly to 901-683-0989.
Oh, my.
This armor's useless. Why do we even wear it?
Oh, You stink!
This is the worst.
Okay, now I believe I better make a stipulation here. I've done this. You've probably done this myself. I've made money doing this thing that I'm
For
about
years,
to criticize.
years.
I am not saying, okay, we're talking about faux finishing today.
Right.
I'm not talking about well-executed faux finishing, and I'm not talking about subtle and beautiful faux finishing techniques. I'm talking about, I'm really looking, I had my eyes on the 1990s. That's when we really, I remember distinctly, there were months where all I did was faux finishes for people.
Yes.
People, there were like, we want every room in the house with a faux finish. We want to stucco this. We want to do this. And we're not talking, we're just talking about the overuse and really some of the badly, because that was all over the HGTV shows was, take a sponge and a rag and you too can make your house look like it's made of marble or something like that. But let's talk about this, Alan. I didn't have to twist your arm too much to discuss this. So
No, because I'm back around 2000, that area of, I was in Fairhope, Alabama, and some friends and I were looking for a house to rent.
Okay.
And we went and looked at one house. And the 90s had not only exploded, it had thrown up all in this house. So every possible faux finish you can think of in bright orange was in this house.
Can I say something?
To the point we fell out laughing at the poor real estate agent.
As we lead into this discussion too, it's important to reflect. You know how I think we were talking about this last week, how a lot of times design trends are a reaction to what came before.
Right.
I remember specifically the 1970s, there was all these weird greens, these funky whatever. The 1980s came along and there was a period I remember distinctly. Everybody wanted their whole house just like a off-white. Like that's it, just paint it plain, paint it whatever. And then in the 90s, people said, no, we want a splash of color, but then they went way overboard. It's like every room was a burgundy or a forest green or whatever.
Yeah.
And part of that movement was the faux finish. So that's when I think it really came into it.
And wall texture finish.
Right. Everything.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Which can be nice, but if you overdo it. So.
Well, this is one of those things where properly accented, a corner, an accent wall, a particular purpose.
Right.
And this really does, you set the stage or make the room, or, if you've got, some of these homes, especially designed in the 90s, we were kind of wandering off from the kitchen, the living room, the dining room, all these little bitty rooms. And we were getting into the great room.
Right.
And this is, I think, where you had so much space in this one area, you really lost visual interest. So you started doing stuff like this. You know that little fake column halfway down the wall, you went in and did a faux finish on it, and it looked like a Greek marble statue.
Yeah.
Well, that looked really good. All right, but it was too much of a good thing because now you decided you wanted the rest of the room to now look like, I don't know, a Roman mausoleum.
Yeah.
And it was, and I got to tell you, it was really weird because if I think about my toolbox back then,
right,
the number of sponges and feathers that I owned, absolutely outrageous.
Or camel hair stipple brushes and things like that. I had them too. Like I said, I made money but I will say this for my own defense. When I would go to somebody's home and they say, I want a faux finish, I generally had to talk them back a little bit. And usually what I found the biggest issues were people maybe didn't think about what these two colors look like when you put them together. And if you remember, if you've never done a faux finish out there, folks, basically you put, in most cases, you put like your base color on there.
Right.
And then you get what they call a glaze, and you mix. It's usually just a transparent.
Don't encourage people to do a faux finish.
Well, I don't even know if you can buy this stuff anymore.
Oh,
man.
yes.
So,
They're whole kits. Kits at the big box store.
But then exactly. There's there's sponges, there's these feathers, there's whatever. But it's usually what went wrong was they mixed the colors they combined because there's like almost a translucent top coat.
Right.
Well, you don't put a purple or whatever because you think it looks cool. You have to be very subtle. My big thing I always tried to sell was subtlety. I'm like, you know what? I don't think the idea here is to make this column look like it's made of marble. What my suggestion was, let's give it elements of a marble color, like instead of, and so visually it makes you think of it, but your imagination kind of puts it there. Because I think what's worse is, like, have you ever seen where they tried to make a painted door look like it was made of wood, like it was a wood grain? They dragged it. To me, that's just work. Why don't you just get a wood door or something? I don't know. This is one I would love if people had any pictures or if they had any experiences. The other thing I remember distinctly was people saying, I want this, and it was usually a really over-stylized faux finished, and 2 years later, you're getting a phone call from them saying, my wife hates it now.
Oh, yeah.
We're just going to paint it white or something. And I think that's why these days we have just plain, like kind of a little light gray off. I think, like most people today, I think paint almost the whole house the same color, just opening it up and then you put whatever you put on the walls, you try to make that interesting. But I like your word accent. I think using it as an accent is always nice, but the overuse, I believe, is what we're talking about here.
And I've also faux finished a lot of things that go in the house.
Okay. Oh, yeah,
plant
like furniture.
Stands and little columns. And I even did the arms of a couch one time.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, that turned out really, really nice because they wanted a dark stone look.
Right.
Which is really easy to do because you left the base color of the wood and just kind of darkened and highlighted and put in some veining. And it turned out really quite pleasant. And 10 years later, when you see the same couch, it still looks pleasant. It's not screaming at you from the wall, why did you put 50 pounds of mud on me and make me look like a giant orange peel?
Right. No, that one's good, but that, again, is using it as an accent. And doing some furniture, doing some distressed and everything is cool. The one thing I remember, do you remember this one finish? I'm trying to remember what the technique was called, but basically you put like a clear coat on, and then you put a top coat of paint on, and what it's supposed to do is separate and peel and crack to make it look like it's old.
Yeah, your crackle.
Well, have fun painting over that. That was the worst when you had to cover it because it's all wrinkly and peeling and everything. I that crackle finish and when if the edges overlapped, crackle was a tough finish, and I never saw it where it really, I thought, looked very good. So I don't know.
Well, my favorite one was the time I was asked to distress a couple of old style tables that were brand new.
It's brand new. We need to make it look old.
They're like, okay, these are brand new, but they really need to look like 100 years old. And you kind of like, I got a tow chain in the truck. I'll be right back. And
literally, you're not kidding either. That's what you did back then. You bang it with a chain. You scrape the edges.
Stuff over it, and you put it. You scuffed it on things. I remember even.
I remember doing that for front doors. There were a few people that wanted their front door to look old.
Yeah. I think the weirdest one ever was a big dining table, and they wanted to like give it character. So it's kind of like, all right, well, pick it up. Let's take it outside. And we went outside and we flipped it over and laid it on their driveway.
Oh gosh!
And told their kids to get in it. And I said, "All right, play the jump music so they'll bounce up and down on it."
Yeah.
And then they did. We
just get some BB guns, sledgehammer.
Tap
everything,
dance on there.
everything.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say you hooked it to the car and drug it across.
No, we didn't do that. We just let the kids dance on it for a little bit. And you know what? It looked aged.
Yeah.
It had little pock marks and little, when you got through sanding it and going back and putting the surface back on.
Right.
It looked quite a bit older without looking like somebody beat it with a tire chain.
Well, I think we need to leave this out on the table. If you've got a faux finish that maybe, and like I said, some of them look really good.
Good or bad.
And
good or bad.
But if you've ever had a faux finish experience, that's out there on the table today. So feel free. Or if you've done one, that was a big DIY thing. A lot of homeowners said, you know what, we're doing a faux finish. And they get together and, pick the colors and buy the kit, the sponge and all that. So, all right, well, so that's out there. Get in touch with us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline, 901-683-0989. Well, speaking of the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline, we're going to take a quick break here on Tool Talk Radio. When we come back, we're going to visit with our good buddy, Jay Hill.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Your Highness, I'm sure it's not that noticeable.
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
Yeah, thanks, Max.
I could only use that hotkey for only so many times.
Yeah, thanks, man. Okay. And we'll come back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com and our pal Max over there behind the glass. You can call or text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989, especially if you want to weigh in and tell us how you're celebrating International Bald and Free Day. Allan, is that what's going on?
Yep. But that's okay. Wait till Max finds that I just sealed his door.
Okay, thanks. Okay. So get in touch with us there. Yeah, the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline, 901-683-0989. We also invite you to go to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page and check out we've posted made a couple of posts over there, including our great moments in building history, which we're going to get to in just a little bit. And then if you want to watch, maybe if you're over on X, you can also watch the show at the News Talk 98.9 The Roar X page. But also, you can go on over to the News Talk 98.9 The Roar Facebook page and watch the show. So all sorts of ways to enjoy the show. It's archived for the ages, so if you want to watch it later, do that. Don't do it while you're driving. So, all right, well, as we said, in the house, we've got our good buddy, Jay Hill, with Big M Roofing and Remodeling. Good to have you here, sir.
Glad to be here as always. Good morning, gentlemen.
And if you want to know what Jay looks like, as we said, if you want to put a face to the voice, he's on camera, right? Max, I think he is, so looks like it.
I just put him on dramatically.
Oh, okay, he fades you in.
Dramatically. Dun, dun, dun.
Jay, we've got a lot going on. I know you and I are going to be working on a project coming up. I'm probably in a couple months, actually, because I'm still doing the construction phase of this. So.
Yeah, looking forward to that for sure.
What are you up to right now, man?
Man, staying busy. Most of what we've been doing lately have been big projects. Just finishing one that we're doing the gutters now on out in the Eads area, and but we just got finished with a 150 square roof and a designer shingle that literally took 2 weeks to do at a 16-12 pitch. It's a chateau style home, and just a real challenge.
2 weeks. Hold on, just to put some perspective on that.
Right,
Allan,
right.
I was going to say, because my house is a Cape Cod. I don't know how you figure your squares and stuff, but you needed to replace decking. You needed to remove 2 layers of roofing. You needed to put a new roof on, the whole roofing system, and you did all of that in one day.
Well, let me make it sound like an old
imagine.
rap song, sort of like it's all about the pitch.
Okay, so the pitch is the big hassle.
Oh my
for you guys,
gosh!
so.
Well, yeah, go into that. What for the average homeowner, when you say pitch, what are you talking about?
We're talking about the roof line as it equates to basically the height of it, if you will. A 1612 is basically 2 steps away from being vertical at a 90-degree angle.
It is
we've
really
seen some steep
We're
roofs.
talking
So
1612, if you're
territory.
looking, looks like this. 2012 looks like this.
Right.
So I mean, you're literally your technicians are hanging on to harness ropes,
Yes.
basically doing the whole job with huge fasteners nailed into the top beams of those homes. And so getting those shingles off is just one phase of it, which is also just, houses like this don't, just have gravel landscaping either. I mean, they're all the whole deal. And you just have to take precautions. It is it's a challenge. It just is, because you don't want to damage anything. There's a lot of weight coming off.
Right.
And then just the weight of the shingles that go on houses like this typically are twice as heavy as just a normal traditional shingle, where you'd normally have 3, bundles to a square, of about 60 pounds apiece. These are 5 and 6 bundles per square at the same weight per bundle. So it's just a lot of work. I mean, when you get done, I mean, you're talking about a roof that'll last literally a lifetime, notwithstanding, a fire or some catastrophe.
Okay, you brought up another key word I don't think the average homeowner truly appreciates. Talk about the weight of what you're taking off.
Yeah, it's mind-blowing.
I mean, it fills dumpsters, right? I mean,
Well, again, I want you to think about it like this. I think this is the best visualization that I can give. Take a 10 by 10 area, okay,
right,
which is what we in this business will call a square,
right,
a square of roofing. The shingles that most folks have on their home, including mine, will have 3 bundles or 180 pounds, if you will, within that 10-foot area.
Right.
But if you're talking about a designer type shingle that, again, you've got 5 or 6, for instance, bundles per, you're talking about twice that. So, you're talking about in just maybe in a 2 by 2 foot area having 140, 50 pounds.
Right.
Like this.
Well, and that I think is the shocking number that most people don't realize that, having been involved in building, I'm working on building a house this week myself. And one of the big projects is, of course, getting the rafters up and making sure all of that is nice and secure and tight. Mm-hmm. And I don't think people truly appreciate how much weight that is. And then we're going to add water, wind.
I was about to say the wind stresses that it puts on there. Think about
that. And additionally, too, it's not like that you can go into a home today that might be a spec home with prefab trusses and throw one of these designer type roofs on top of it with that weight. They are not designed for it. That's where you'll see the sagging between the rafters,
exactly,
and so on. As a matter of fact, even on some of the well-built homes, you've just got to be cautious of this, because I've literally, the next one that we're going to be doing is the neighbor to the big one that we just got finished with. And when this guy built this home, they started seeing, because he's got a designer shingle on there now that's heavy, not quite as heavy as the one I just talked about, but he started seeing the sagging real quick between the rafters, and they had to really kind of stop, take some decking off, do some reinforcements in those rafters just so it would hold and aesthetically, not just aesthetically, but aesthetically was part of it, structurally hold the weight of the roof that's going on. So when we talk about Shelby County Code, for instance, and you can have 2 layers by code, although you can, it's not a good idea for the very reason we just talked about. Over time, all that weight, unless you've got a home that was built, I'm going to say no later than the 50s, early 60s, hardly anything today, unless it's a custom home, can really stand that over time.
Yeah, and think of the stresses it puts on other areas. If you're wondering why maybe your sheetrock is cracking, or why the door is leaking, or why all that stuff plays a
lot
role.
Going on up there, for sure.
Hey, Jay, you said the neighbor is going to be getting work, so this is one of those word of mouth deal, or they saw you in action
crazy.
or something?
Actually, two just from that same thing. I mean, I've always and I always want to say it every chance I can. I'm just so grateful and blessed that that God's given me what I have, and our business comes to us repeat and referral just so often, and between this show and referrals, we just stay extremely busy, and we're grateful. And I always want to say that out loud, man. Thanks.
Well, we always talk about when you're on a job site, we notice a different energy. Sometimes I'm exhausted by the end of the day working around Jay, but no, it's true. And I guess when people see that in action, they're like, okay, that's the kind of crew I want at my house. So
yeah, we pride ourselves on a lot of things in what we do, and it's good to know that we've got a good team. It's not all about me, that's for sure, but we've got really nicely trained technicians who have been doing it a long time. Some of them are second and third generation roofers and construction folks, and it's not the Chuck in the truck and Dan in the van type of thing. So
let's be good about giving your number out too. Tell people how to get in touch with you.
I'm at 901-484-5645. That's a direct line to me if you need me. And of course, you can always go to the website bigmroofingandremodeling.com, which has all our credentials, a great gallery of work that we have done and services that we perform. along with all our, like I said, our credentials, all of the things that you really should know about anybody that's going to come onto your property or that you're contemplating doing business with for work on your home or business.
I mean, especially a roof. You don't want just any, like you said, old Chuck in his truck. I'm sure there's a lot of really good guys named Chuck out there that are doing honorable work, but they get a bad rap with the,
Karens, Chucks,
Yeah.
Dans, we pick on everybody.
Yeah, Karen. Yeah, I forgot Karen.
Hey, Jay, so the job that you and I are going to be working on, well, it looks like you're probably going to be doing the whole home, but I'm building a laundry room and I'm building a 2-car carport that's going to have the same roof line. Yeah, it's going to continue.
Yeah.
And, as we're sitting there, you came over there and we're consulting about like gutters and everything. And it's interesting when you're designing something and you want it to be as effective as it can and efficient. It really got me thinking about the connection between gutters and your roofing system. And I don't know. I think they should be thinking about those together, right? I mean, they're not a separate entity in some ways. So
they're not, and a lot of this, like the home that you're talking about that we'd be working on collectively, is an older home that was built in the 1910, 1915, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
and so we're 100 years later. Is it safe to assume that what we do today in terms of how we do things is different than it was then? Well, obviously, absolutely. So making those adjustments to today's standards for longevity and stuff. Some of it's better, some of it's not so much. But a lot of it boils down to what's available. You can't go back and buy stuff that was available back then, even if you could.
Right.
But most of the things that are available today in terms of products and techniques are they're better in a lot of ways. Let's just leave it like that.
Well, if you go, you can put gutters up yourself. You can go to the big box store and do that. But Jay, what do you see is the biggest? Okay. I didn't know we were coming up on the break. Where'd that come from? So, all right, we'll continue this. I have some gutter talk. We're going to drag things down into the gutter when we come back. You're listening.
Yuck.
You're listening to Tool Talk Radio here at News Talk 98.9 The Roar, Memphis. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
I'm here to clean the carpets. Most of the world is carpeted, and one day we will do the cleaning.
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
Jay, you need to partner up with that guy. He's got the right kind of business attitude that's going to take you places, man. So
That's right.
That's
right. One day the whole world will be a roof.
Yeah. And Jay Hill will do the roofing.
And I'll do the roofing.
And we'll come back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from DarkOakMedia.com and our pal Max over there behind the glass. And in the house, Jay Hill with Big M Roofing and Remodeling. You can call or text us, in fact, at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling hotline at 901-683-0989. We also invite you to watch the show. You can check it out on the News Talk 98.9 The Roar's Facebook page. And watch the studio cams there. You can also watch the show over on X at the News Talk 98.9 The Roar X page. I think that's what it's called, right?
Yes,
I don't know.
X.
And then also, it would behoove you to go to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page and check out the posts we've made over there, including our must-have item of the week and our great moments in building history, which is something local that we're going to discuss shortly, the Woodruff Fontaine House. We're getting spooky here since it's spooky season. Jay, you're going to stick around for that conversation,
Absolutely.
right? So before the break, Max, you said we got a couple of texts too, right?
All about the faux finish.
Okay, well, because
Yes.
we have it out there on the table in our historically terrible discussion. We were talking about the overuse or the badly executed faux finish. Mostly, I'm thinking of the 1990s, the early zeros and stuff. So, but they're pictures, right, Max?
Two photos with commentary.
Talk to me.
So, from our buddy Angel, this is no photos, just to let you know. She said that she did a faux finish in one of her bathrooms. Mauve was base color, and I sponged over with an off-white. Don't have photos, and it was over a solid color.
Okay.
And then the other one was an anonymous texter. They said, I learned this from Ron Wilkerson, a friend of mine who he owned Wilkinson's Enterprise, and Allan said that these actually look pretty good.
Okay, so I like how he works in a shameless plug for his business
Oh, yeah,
too. Very,
yeah,
very
yeah.
clever. So, okay, they were furniture though. One of them though was a kitchen cabinet, and as far as I could tell, it looked to me like they did the crackle finish on there. Which, if you're the painter following that one, you're going to be cursing those people to the pit.
well,
that's
actually,
a lot of work fixing a kitchen cabinet that's got that crackle finish.
The effect is on the table, and that's actually when we used to do this, we used to call it the ink pen splash.
Yeah, you just step back
where you
and
just
kind of
flick and fling. And I've got to give him mad props here. It's not shocking. It's not overly done. It's actually a fairly nice job.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, hey, keep those texts and those calls coming. You know,
Man,
and
we love
especially
the
if you,
pictures. Man, we love the pictures.
Thank you for the pictures. Thanks, Angel. Thanks, whoever the anonymous texter was. As a matter of fact, I thought back in the day, Jay, didn't you faux finish the outside of your truck? I thought to make it look like a shingle, something like that. That's the rumor.
That wasn't me. I've had some vehicles that I have painted with a brush before, but that was in high school.
They naturally become distressed. So
yeah, I've had a couple of cars that had a crinkle finish. I'll give you that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hey, Jay, before the break, we want to remind people, Jay Hill, you know, if you have any roofing and remodeling and really any of the exterior protection of your home is what we're talking about. Roofing, gutters, siding, windows, that's kind of, you know, your wheelhouse. And the fact that you are a former insurance agent, and that is a hugely useful skill that you bring to the table. You've helped me and Allan. I mean, we got our roof replaced because of your knowledge, sir.
Well, yeah, that's how we cut our teeth getting in this business, basically by working with insurance companies because of experience that I had, as you just said, with as being an agent for MetLife of all people way back in the day, and you know that has changed quite a bit today in terms of we talk about this from time to time on the show, how, you know, when you look up and down your street and you realize all your neighbors are getting getting new roofs,
right?
You know, how's that happening? And then you find out, oh, their insurance paid for it. That's changed quite a bit just in the last couple of years. There are still some companies that are excellent at providing, you know, that relief via your homeowner's policy. And then there are some that used to be good that absolutely won't do a thing. And they change daily. And you just really have to know what's going on to make that happen. So we don't do as much of that as we used to, just because a lot of people are kind of numb to what they're hearing from other people as far as what their experience has been with insurer X or Y or something like that. But there's still relief out there in the right situation. But it's very difficult for just a homeowner to navigate that by themselves.
I don't know how you can. I mean, we looked into it for years, Jay, before we met you, and I like I said, literally, I'd ask 50 different people who I thought should have expertise in this, and I'd get 50 different answers. Nobody cut through the baloney until Jay came along. And
you know, nobody can really be judge and jury too, but you can have a pretty good idea, you know, of what you can expect based on a pre-inspection, basically, you know, of seeing, is there any wind damage, any storm damage that can be attributed to the claim, because that, at the end of the day, is what's going to drive the claim and ultimately success. It won't be because it's just an old roof. But an old roof can have damage that's still covered. So never get those things confused.
Yeah, so if you need to get in touch with Jay, you know, maybe you're out there and you're looking at your roof and go, boy, it could be damaged. I don't know. I'm not an expert. And plus, there may be damage that they're not seeing. You can't see it from standing in your front yard looking up.
Exactly. So. And hail's one of those ones that you'll hardly ever see. Right. You know, and one of the biggest ways that we kind of look for the real signs of hail or kind of the little side stuff like soft metals and things like that, because you can't really see it as much on the roof until you get up there and really start looking at it real closely. But, you know, anywhere like a mailbox, an air conditioner, some type of meter box or something like that, any kind of soft metal that's around the house, you'll see those hail hits there. And a lot of times we've had some hail.
Oh, yeah.
Matter of fact, these two that we're talking about, the one I just finished and the one I'm fixing to start, those are both hail claims from Eads.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, from Eads.
Eads,
significant hail.
Yeah, they're pretty exposed over in Eads. It's like they get the wind, they get it all over there, don't they?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
So get in touch with Jay, call him directly. I always insist that you call during, like, maybe in the middle of an exciting football game or call at 3 in the mornings. Inappropriate times. That's my suggestion. Get in touch with him at 901-484-5645, maybe when he's at the Orpheum watching a show or something.
There you go.
Hey, Jay, tell us about the job that you're on, because I believe he was a listener, right?
Not the jobs that we're talking about in terms of the roofs, but yeah,
Okay,
that's another
a recent
one.
job.
Yeah, we got more than one thing going on at any given time, that's for sure. But yeah, we for those that aren't familiar, we had a phone call into the show about 2 months ago, maybe.
I think it was something like that.
Yeah, from a gentleman who will leave his name out right now, but who has become a very, very good friend, him and his wife both. But he was having a problem. He had masonite siding on his chimney in a home that was built in the mid-'90s, which was kind of common, prefab fireplace. And, not a call I would normally take. It's just one of those smaller things, more of a, handyman potentially type of repairs. And that's not really my deal. But anyway, we took the call. Sounded like a nice guy, and we went. And we actually replaced all of the siding on his chimney with hardy board and painted it. He was extremely happy. At that point in time, I went back to take a look at the work. Noticed he had wind damage on the roof. Got his roof approved through the insurance company. Got the new roof put on at no expense to them. And then found out that at the end of the day, really to make that house perfect, we needed to replace all that masonite siding with hardy board and replace rotten wood and add new gutters, which we just finished yesterday. So the repair to the chimneys ended up being an incredibly big job, and they are extremely happy, and we're extremely happy to have been of service. So it's funny how that happens. They are extremely proud of their home now, and we're proud to have them as customers.
Jay, as a contractor, do you ever sit back and reflect? I do this all the time. You sit back and you look at some, you look at all, like I've had this happen many times. You look back and you go, okay, one customer that I worked for about, 8 years ago led to probably 50 other customers or something. It's like a snowball effect. And when you think about it, that's why, and also if you don't do a good job, that's why you lose all those 50 cuts. So it's interesting how much business can just take off because of one satisfied customer.
I'm going to tell you, we pay a $200 referral too. I mean, that's just really what drives our business, this show and that referral chain that you're talking about. And you would not believe the $200 checks that I write, and we're glad to do it.
Absolutely. So get in touch with Jay, 901-484-5645. Well, hour one of Tool Talk Radio is in the can, but Jay's going to be sticking around. We'll talk a little bit more about roofing and remodeling, and then we're also going to talk about great moments in building history, the Woodruff Fontaine House here in Memphis.
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis. Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. Max, was the camera on? It's funny all the off-air shenanigans taking place. So, Anyway,
if they only knew.
Yeah, I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com, and our pal Max over there behind the glass, and a man who does not respect the time clock, our buddy Jay Hill with Big M Roofing and Remodeling sitting over there. Jay, don't look at me that way. You can call or text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling hotline at 901-683-0989. As a matter of fact, I think we've got a call that we'll be getting to momentarily. You can also watch the show if you want to go that route. You can watch the show on two different platforms. You can go to the News Talk 98.9 The Roar X page and check it out over there, or go to the News Talk 98.9 The Roar Facebook page and see what it looks like in here. If you're dying of curiosity what Jay looks like, well, he's here. I mean, he's ready to go. And
Look like
also,
a pumpkin today.
Yeah.
You're in the colors. You're
all
doing
of us
good.
are on camera except for Max, naturally. He's kind of like the Wilson of this show. You'll never really know what Max looks like. And then, of course, scoot on over to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page. So, hey, before the break, we were visiting. If you're just tuning in, we've been visiting with our good buddy Jay Hill with Big M Roofing and Remodeling, talking a lot about roofs, a wide variety of items. But apparently we got a caller, right, Max? You want to pull him up? So
We got our good buddy Tom on the line.
Tom, talk to us. What's going on, man?
Good morning. That's my buddy, Mr. J. Hill Esquire. I was trying to call in when you guys, right before the break, and we were at the, breakfast and everything, couldn't quite get to the phone. But just to follow up, he's done an outstanding job on our house. It started, like he said, back in July with a chimney in need of repair. And one thing led to another, and the man's a miracle worker. I have, brand new siding, hardy plank. I mean, I'm just pleased. The new roof, the guttering, and it's a night and day difference. And I just want to say a sincere thank you to Jay. He made the experience just seamless and easy. It was easy on me. I know he did a lot of work behind the scenes and everything, but it couldn't have been easier, and I couldn't be more pleased. And I just wanted to, give a shout out and say a sincere thank you.
Well, Jay,
I mean, you never know what to say with something like that. I mean, Tom and his lovely wife, I mean, they're just outstanding people, and just the opportunity to have done this has just been incredible. I'm so glad that you're happy. I mean, it's really kind of cool to look back on it all, because a lot of times you can't see, what your present circumstances are. You sometimes you just can't see your own stuff. I know I don't see what's as wrong with me, for instance, or things I need to work on as much as somebody like my other half can see that in
right.
me, and we can look back 2 months ago and look at where we were yesterday when Tom and I met for the last time for now and finishing the projects that he's talking about, and you look at their place, and it's like somebody jacked the old one up and put a new one there. So when you look up and down the street now, I mean, theirs absolutely stands out in the best possible light.
There you go.
And it really goes to show, that, take a little time, and if you can, invest a little bit in your stuff. Because, that's money you're never going to lose. That's always going to come back, and a lot of it's just maintenance, the building products have gotten better. They last longer. And but, Tom, I can't thank you and your wife enough. Y'all are just absolutely special in my book. And obviously, if I can ever be of further service in any kind of way, I know that we're all going to be in touch. But thank you again, man. I really appreciate you.
Well, and thank you. And it won't be the last time. Once the season, we always try to pick a different project or something to tackle, each new year. And it won't be the last time we call on you, because we're happy. And, as we go forward in the next year and the year after that, we're going to start focusing, on some interior work that you and I have talked about.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to say, again, a sincere thank you. We couldn't be more pleased. And I just, the little things stand out. It's like, when everything was completed, earlier this week, came home, and I mean, everything was completely cleaned up. That's maybe an important thing that people don't think about, but it was cleaned up. It was like, wow, this is just, I couldn't be happier. And I just wanted to give you a shout out and just say thank you.
Hey, Tom, I got a question for you. Did your old roof have a ridge vent on it? Did it, Jay?
No,
they
it did
might have to
not.
speak more to that. I'm not familiar with that.
Okay, do me a favor, Tom.
It does now.
Here's what I'll say, because Allan and I both have our roofs replaced by Jay Hill. Well, one thing I noticed, and it was really interesting, I thought it was a fluke. We got our roof replaced. I want to say it was in May. It was in May of 2 years ago. And then I got my utility bill. And I'm like, it's got to be a mistake. It's like, I don't know, $60 or $70 less than it was. Then it started happening month after month. And I'm like, wait a minute. My utility bill has gone down it noticeably, because now my roof was running cooler and everything. And it's stayed that way. 2 years later, it's, I don't know, I mean, significantly lower. And I'd be curious if you pay attention to your utility bill, like what you're going to start noticing. Probably more so, of course, in the summer months. But
And Tom,
now that you mentioned that, I don't believe it did have that on there, but it does now, and I will be definitely looking at that.
It'll
right.
make trust me. I mean, it makes a huge
They
difference.
are game changers. Yeah,
they are.
No doubt about it. Yeah, that's where we basically, for folks that aren't familiar with it, we basically take your top ridge, and sometimes there's multiple ridges on a home. They have one distinct ridge on theirs, and we basically cut 1.5 inches off of each side of that top ridge and install what's called a ridge vent, and then the ridge cap shingles go on top of that. But what it allows to happen is for air to come through your soffit vents at the bottom of your eaves and to basically dissipate out of the top of the roof, which can take 25 to 30 degrees out of your attic and at all times. So, I mean, it's a real game changer, especially in the summer as hot as it gets in Memphis.
Yeah, it's impressive. So, yeah, we'll follow up with us in a few months, especially I think once the summer rolls around, you're going to really notice it. But yeah, Tom, so you've seen Jay's dynamic personality at work, and
absolutely. I mean, he brings an energy to the project, and again, he brings organization. We didn't have to do anything. He did all the legwork, and it was phenomenal. I liked it.
It's fun, man. And then every time it rains, you'll just sit back in your recliner and look up and say, "Do your worst."
Oddly enough, I don't like the rain because I like the motorcycle a lot, but it's like I'm looking forward to the next heavy rain because I want to see the gutters and everything in action.
Well, Tom, we sure appreciate it. Hey, we're coming up on a break, but man, stay in touch and like we said, report back. We'd love to know about your utility bill and all the other stuff at play going on here. So thanks for calling in.
And
man.
I love the show you guys put on. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Well, can't do better than that. What a testimonial, Jay.
No. I mean, unbelievable. When I tell you we're just blessed, there you go.
Absolutely. Well, we hope you feel blessed listening to Tool Talk Radio here at News Talk 98.9 The Roar Memphis. We're going to take a quick break. Then we're going to do our great moments in building history.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
You're making a plan while I'm being a man, just winging it.
News Talk 98.9 The Roar of Memphis.
I think Jay fired the last guys that had those attitudes, right? You don't wing it with Big M Roofing and Remodeling.
I think it was also because they were singing.
Yeah, no singing on the job, and no, you don't mind singing,
No, we like that. As a matter of fact, a lot of our customers talk about how good, your crew, they really play some really good music.
There you go.
Happy music.
Yeah, absolutely. And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com, our pal Max over there behind the glass, and in the house, our good buddy Jay Hill with Big M Roofing and Remodeling. You can call or text us, in fact, at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling hotline at 901-683-0989. We also invite you to watch the show. You can watch it over on the News Talk 98.9 The Roar's X page. And see what it looks like in here. You can watch it over on Facebook at the News Talk 98.9 The Roar's Facebook page. And then while you're on Facebook, we invite you to also scoot on over to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page. Join the page, like the page, share the page, and check out the posts we've made over there. So it was sort of interesting, and we want to remind everybody, if you're just getting up and if maybe you're not as in tune with the news of the day, today is it's pretty interesting because I think the weather is going to cooperate. Starting around 10:30 or so, a partial solar eclipse is going to be beginning that's how it works. So you're going to start seeing, if you and please wear either, welder's glasses or the eclipse glasses.
Appropriate eye protection.
I'm wondering where you can find the eclipse glass. Remember when we had the eclipse in 2017, you could go to the gas station and buy these things. And so maybe you still have yours left over. I kept about 8 or 10 of them, so I've got mine ready to go. But it's going to be starting around 10:30, and I guess it's going to be the most coverage around noon or so. And it's funny because we were talking that in 2024, I believe in April, if you drive maybe 30 minutes from here over into Arkansas, there is going to be a full solar eclipse, and we're definitely doing that. When I told Jay, you said You may or may not do that. You don't care about seeing a full solar eclipse. I mean, some people travel across the world to see something like this.
Well, cut me down right here in front of everybody. I didn't say that. You said you talked about driving to see one.
30 minutes. Go.
Okay, Joe, I'll go. Let's go.
Well, you're so focused on your business and taking care of customers. Sometimes you don't live a little, man. You got to go. This is something to see, right? I mean, and Allan, you've seen a full solar eclipse.
Yes.
I've never had.
I've seen one.
Oh, you have?
I have seen
Did you
a
have
full-
the glasses?
We didn't
and
have to
everything?
drive.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
mean,
I
it
never
was-
saw one, so I'm excited.
Well, there you go.
It's and they say it too. I think what happens is like the crickets start chirping and all the nighttime animals.
yeah,
They
it gets
think
dark.
it's ready to get dark.
Oh yeah,
it's
dark.
over.
Yeah.
So please take part in that. And then, like we say, today is sort of a warm up act. You can do that unless somebody is listening from across the country and they're getting the full solar eclipse. And by the way, as long as we're talking about some of our long distance listeners, Allan, how could people tune in and listen 24 hours a day to Tool Talk Radio?
Well, I'm glad you asked because
Talk
I
about
get
a
to
softball.
give a big shout out to listeners in Norway and Spain.
There
Wow.
you go.
You guys have been very active this past week. So, yeah, all you got to do is pop over to tooltalkradio.com. We are featured podcast on both Spotify and YouTube. So, by all means, you can pop in, listen to us anytime you want. Catch up on past shows. If there's something in particular you'd like to go back in time and listen to again, it is all archived out there. So basically, we're portable and bingeable.
Yeah, absolutely. So check it out. It's fun. But the one thing I would say, one little criticism I would have of some of these, we want more pictures and we want more interaction. Like I would love to know what the Norwegians deal with in home improvement because they're dealing with low temperatures, right?
yeah.
I mean, they're
Having
dealing
to shovel off their roofs, with
Right.
snow.
So
They probably have some serious pitches there, right?
That's what I
Jay,
was
to
gonna
keep
say.
the snow so it'll run off and everything. Think of the roofing challenges in Norway.
yeah, so if you go, if you check us out, please like and subscribe. Let's keep those algorithms working for us.
We are going to be getting to our great moments in building history in a minute, but we got another listener question here. So this one came through our Facebook page. Michael asks, and this is something I'm going to kind of look at you guys on. Is there any time that you would need to remove or replace attic insulation? I mean, my most obvious thing to me is if it's saturated, water damage, I would think, or maybe if it's, I don't know, talk to us, Jay, because maybe you have an opinion about this. I mean, it can deteriorate over time if it's
Depends
50
on
year,
the type. Yeah, a lot depends on the type.
Yeah.
A lot also depends on activity.
Talk to me.
I'm going to talk about your favorite critters, squirrels.
Oh, good point.
If you've had a cat, a squirrel, a raccoon, or somebody move into your attic, they've been walking around and stomping down your attic insulation.
They've been doing other things in there, too.
They've been
Allan.
doing a lot of other things, but the biggest is they flattened it. And the big secret to insulation is the air trapped in the insulation.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the fact that you've got insulation up there. I hate to kind of put it this way, but is it fluffy? If it's no longer fluffy, we really need to talk about bringing up your insulation rating. Also, what was the rating of what you had?
Yeah.
Because if it's less than an R30, you're letting heat escape through your roof.
So I guess, Michael, the short answer would be obviously if there's any evidence of critters, just get rid of it. You don't know what they've been doing in there.
Yeah.
If it's packed down, maybe just, it's not like you're going to fluff it up like a pillow. Just toss it. And then, plus, it's always a good idea to upgrade anyway.
Well,
So,
they've got the new, they call it the new super duper fiberglass, and I've actually been working with that this week.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, it's quick, it's easy to install. I like the product a lot, and I will tell you, as you're throwing in new R30, you will feel a difference immediately.
Well, it's one of those. I feel like insulation's the kind of thing that pretty much pays for itself, right? I mean, I don't think that's an unfair statement.
Well, you can also cheat and get all right, if you have a little light rain and you walk outside and everybody else's roof is still a little wet and your roof is dry, you need new insulation.
Good point. Yeah, because that's an indication that
you are warming your roof. You are paying to heat the roof.
Right.
And that is not what you're supposed to be doing.
Okay, good question, Michael. So, hey, that's what we want. Those are nice practical, down
Awesome.
to earth questions. You know who else is a practical, down to earth kind of nuts and bolts fellow? Is our good buddy Larry Brown with Brown Refrigeration. You know, we have great sponsors here. I don't know how we do it, Alan. I don't know how we attract people like Jay or Larry or but somehow we do it. Whatever. Maybe they just like this platform. So maybe by comparison, they look better by lining up next to us. I don't know. Whatever it is, Brown Refrigeration is just one of those bedrock kind of companies. If you have any HVAC needs, you need a reliable, solid company with a solid business model, and also that's ever evolving with the latest technology. And that's what Brown Refrigeration does. They work exclusively with Trane. They are really big into the purification of your air with the Remy Halo system. And they work just kind of like you, Jay, the same philosophy. They want the top-notch technology of the day, and it's going to, pay for itself over the years. Also, there is a relationship with a HVAC company. This is a finely calibrated system. You don't play games with this. You don't get, for one thing, please don't let anybody else work on your system because that's going to void its warranty, right? I mean, that is a big deal. It requires a little maintenance, nothing earth-shattering, but once it's up and running, get Brown Refrigeration out there every year or 6 months to check your system, keep your ducts clean. It pays for itself, and it makes your house much more comfortable, and it gives you that peace of mind, which is, you can't put a price tag on that. We love Larry Brown. We love the whole culture over there. If you give them a call, they actually answer their phones.
They do.
Get in touch with them directly at 901-362-1881, or go to their very short website, brownref.com. And I'm not looking at you, Jay. I'm just...
Gotcha.
We got great sponsors as long as we're plugging those. Jay, tell people how to get in touch with Big M Roofing and Remodeling.
901-484-5645 is the direct number. And, of course, BigMRoofingAndRemodeling.com is the website.
It's a pretty long website address, Jay, but it's easy to remember.
It's easy.
I just like to give him grief. Hey, Jay, I will compliment you on this, though. Your website rocks.
Thank you.
I mean, tell us about the website. It's worth a visit for people.
Yeah.
Especially if you're trying to size up Jay and see what's his business all about.
Tried to put everything there that, so you could learn enough about who we were if you didn't, we're a type of person that didn't want to make that phone call and have an interaction like that.
Yep.
I don't know of anybody else that has all their credentials on there, our business license, our insurance, our contractor's license, all of our certifications, and so on and so forth. So try to make it interactive. I'll give a big shout out to Mike Helm, who does that for us, and he literally keeps up with that on a daily basis. So when we have a new project, we try to take pictures of before and after and stuff like that. Mike will take down some of the older stuff, put some newer stuff up, and just try to keep it, interactive and updated. So
You gotta be, let's face it, this is a digital age. Business is done a lot different than it was 30 years ago. So, I will give you a hats off. The website rocks. I don't know. I haven't scrolled through to see if a picture of my roof's on there or not. It probably is, but
I'm not sure if one is on your. That's a good point.
Yeah, I think it is. So, but great stuff, and like we said, we just have great sponsors around here, Jay. Yeah. Jay, I'm going to be very interested in this conversation coming up because we're going to be talking about the Woodruff Fontaine House and great moments in building history, and it's a local structure. I would love to know what the roofing challenges are, and that is a weird looking roof. Folks, if you've ever been over there, if you haven't, pull up an image and check it out before we come back. You're listening to Tool Talk Radio here at News Talk 98.9 The Roar of Memphis. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
One of these days, you're going to get yourself killed, you know that, and I won't be...
News Talk 98.9 The Roar of Memphis.
Yeah, you don't put up with that on the job site, do you, Jay? Kind of shenanigans.
Can't do it.
And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com. Our pal Max over there behind the glass.
I just realized there are actually 3 Stooges in the studio today.
Well, yeah. I don't know which one we emulate.
Yuck,
I mean,
yuck.
you got two curlies going on, so okay. Anyway, whatever. You can call or text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling hotline at 901-683-0989. Did I introduce Jay, or did you step on that, Max? We got our good buddy Jay Hill with Big M Roofing and Remodeling in the house. So if you want to talk to him, this is the day to do it. So we also invite you to go digital. You can watch the show. You can see what it looks like in here, sort of. If you go to the News Talk 98.9 The Roar's X page, or you can go to the News Talk 98.9 The Roar's Facebook page. Both of those platforms have the video rolling. While you're on Facebook, scoot on over to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page, like the page and share the page, and check out the action over there. In just one moment, we're going to get to our great moments in building history, but it's important to mention this, Allan, because Jay reminded me. We were talking off the air about the Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention, which is coming up November 10th through 12th. Jay, if it kills me, we're going to get you to the convention because I promise you, even though you don't have really any geek blood in you at all, you don't know the difference between a tricorder or a triceratops. Trust me, if you go to the Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention, you're going to smile. You're going to have fun. And I bet you're even going to go home. You're going to buy stuff. It is a blast.
Bet you that's not happening.
It's going to happen. We're going to get you in the house. But
I'm going.
It is an annual event. It's family friendly, but we have things for all ages to do.
I can't wait, really.
It's morning to night. I mean, it goes till midnight. We have so much going on. We have one of our guests of honor. If you're a fan of Mystery Science Theater 3000, we have Jonah Ray from MST3K. He's going to be there. You can meet him. You can buy stuff from him. You can get his autograph and photo op. Allan will be set up there with darkoakmedia.com. It's full of vendors. I don't really know how to adequately describe a convention other than it is just a riot. Hundreds of people dressed in geek costumes. It's a big party. It's sort of a party atmosphere, I would say, and it goes from morning till night and things for all ages to do. So, and you can get tickets now at 901-TIX, or you can go to memphiscfc.com. It is a good idea to get your tickets in advance, and I did have one important announcement. It's official, Allan. We are doing cashless ticket sales this year. So when you get to the convention, if you want to buy tickets at the door, just keep in mind it's digital. You know, you just pay. Most people do anyway, but I want to make it known. And also, we have a new sponsor that is sponsoring the convention that is also going to be appearing here on Tool Talk Radio in a week or two. So we'll introduce them. Including another sponsor, Brussels Bonsai over in Olive Branch. So get in touch with us. It's a lot of fun. memphiscfc.com, and also go to 901-TIX, and you can get your tickets over there. All right, guys. Well, let's hit it.
And now, great moments in building history.
And I can't really do better than to probably hand this over to Allan. Although I know I've been in this, I'm familiar with this structure. But in honor of the Halloween season, we thought, well, my gosh, let's celebrate Memphis and Halloween together, and architecture as we talk about the Woodruff Fontaine House. And there is it's rumored to be haunted. And for people that don't know, we don't talk about this often enough. If you're new to Tool Talk Radio, Allan, you go on these investigation, like ghost hunting investigations, and you're usually the one that ruins it for everybody. They're all prepared to meet ghosts and goblins and everything, and Allan goes, they say, did you feel that cold draft? Did you feel that weird chill down your spine when you went up the stairs? You go, yeah, you have a faulty electrical system or something.
Yeah, that's kind of my
But this
job.
is your thing, so let's let you carry this one. So
Well, let's set the Wayback Machine and let's head back to Memphis in 1871. We're post-Civil War.
Right.
And Memphis has got a lot of things going for it. One,
location, right?
It is, the 5 rules of real estate. Memphis has got it cooking. We got location.
Right.
And we've also got a deep enough river at this point that we're a great launching off point for agricultural goods and manufactured goods. That kind of gets over, cotton is king and all that kind of stuff. We hear a lot about that, but we also kind of forget that we were a huge manufacturing area.
Sure.
And along comes a gentleman by the name of Amos Woodruff, and he built carriages.
Well,
And
pretty practical.
and at the time he was the big automaker of 1871. Translation: everybody's got a horse.
Right.
You got to have
gotta
a
get
carriage.
somewhere.
You got to
Yeah.
have all these type of things. And because of the time and the era, a lot of French style and a lot of revival is going on. So when you see a picture of this house, you are looking at a true, really good example of a French Victorian.
It does look very European when you see it. It's a
And,
cool looking house. I mean, it looks like something out of the Munsters, though. So, yeah.
Well, congratulations. And because of the business at the time going on there, we had kind of what was affectionately known as Millionaire's Row.
Because we're talking Adams Street, and it's right there are several noteworthy homes on that little stretch.
Very beautiful Victorian, true Victorians, built between 1860 and 1900, and each one. And as you like to point out, Joe, occasionally an ego gets involved.
Well,
and these houses are actually designed to be impressive.
That was my question, because off the air I was talking to you, and I'm like, okay, I know there are actual reasons for comfort of having really high ceilings and making a really tall home, because I'm thinking, okay, the hot air goes up and it keeps it a little cooler down below. But when I look at it, I'm thinking, okay, it's got to also be an intimidation factor. It's like, look at our home. We are better than you. And back in the day, they didn't apologize. It's like the rich wanted you to know how much money they had and everything. So,
the architectural firm of Baldwin and I think it was Edwards. It was Jones and Baldwin. That was it. Jones and Baldwin did such a nice job on this one that when the neighbors got ready, they also built the Goyer Lee house.
Okay.
So they're going to look, as you drive down this little Adams Street area, this little Victorian village, you will notice all of the houses look very similar, and they have very impressive fronts. They are literally designed to say,
look at me.
Welcome to my house. We are here to do some business.
It is impressive. It's not my typical style that I would like, but I do like it's interesting. Every feature is interesting. The front door, the cover, the roof line.
Not too far from here was the Snowdon Castle that you and I are very intimately familiar with.
Right.
We've been all through that. And, so Memphis even got more or less a castle built about this time.
Right.
So welcome to great construction. Now, several families lived here throughout the years, and about 1961 or so, the current owners, the Association for Preservation of Tennessee Antiquities, picked up the house and kept it from being abandoned and falling apart and that type of thing. And if you've never been to this museum, it is a fabulous step through history. The staff does an amazing job of keeping up with the seasons and what the home would have looked like as you lived there back in 1870, 1880, 1890.
Well, that's the thing, because they change it per season. So they decorate it for Christmas. So really, if you want the full experience, you got to go 4 or 5 times during the year.
Yeah, it's like a mini Biltmore.
It is. And one of the most impressive features as you come in the front door is, of course, Joe, as you said, the entryway. Mm-hmm. It is here to make a presentation. This building is roughly, by our standards today, 4 stories tall.
Yeah.
And there is an amazing staircase that takes you all the way up. And this is as you come in the door. Mm-hmm. So you basically wind up with an atrium 4 stories tall in a private home as you walk in the entryway.
And you look up, and you're just looking up and up and up. It just keeps going.
Now,
so, yeah.
Here's a dirty little secret of it. It was also acoustically designed.
It's funny you mention that, because my favorite part of the tour was the old Victrola, which is really interesting. It's like you just take, these little, what are they called? Like music boxes where there's a little tinkling sound because the metal just whatever. Well, they have a huge version of these where it's almost like a record on its side. The diameter is probably like 3 feet across, and it echoes through the whole house. It's cool, and it
Yes.
sounds like a symphony or something going on.
It is truly
and so they
designed
built
to
it
deliver
with
this.
acoustics in mind.
Well, and that is kind of a little secret people don't really realize about the Victorian era was it was all about if we're going to have a party, there's these odd little rooms kind of off to the side, and that's where you hid the musicians.
So you have the musicians either downstairs or whatever, and it's wafting through the house.
Right.
Or,
They're kind of off to the side of the atrium so that while you're in the dining room, you have not direct music like you're at a concert hall, but you have a couple of violinists
like
tucked off to
ambiance.
the sides, and you can hear them throughout the entire house.
Yeah, that's cool. And I guess that explains, too, that open staircase because it can...
Well, if you are at the very, very top of this and you talk in a very normal tone of voice about this loud, the person at the front door can hear you just fine.
I couldn't live there.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's kind of hard to keep secrets in a house like that.
I just couldn't be that quiet. Never have been.
Well, think about it. You're looking for the kids.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
you walk out and yell,
you hear
all right, I want all the kids down here now.
Right.
You just yelled up the atrium and everybody could hear you.
It's pretty interesting. I like all the details like that because the acoustical nature of things that plays a role. They didn't have telephones back then. They didn't have you got to
didn't have a
communicate
cell
with the
phone where
family.
you could find the kid in the backyard. You had to go find people. And
you don't want to march 4 stories up to go tell them it's dinner time.
Absolutely.
No.
All right, lots of cool stuff about that, and of course we have to discuss why it's rumored that this place is haunted.
We'll give that a hint.
You're listening to Tool Talk Radio here at News Talk 98.9 The Roar Memphis. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Everything that has transpired has done so according to my design.
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
I would love to claim that about today's show, but it just sort of happened, whether I wanted it to or not. Anyway, welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com, our pal Max over there behind the glass, and a friend of ours who I would pay $500 if he could name who that individual was on the rejoiner. Our good buddy Jay Hill with Big M Roofing and Remodeling. Do you know who that was, Jay?
I have no idea.
Shame on you. I mean, from one of the most famous movies of all time.
I should have texted him the answer, but to split the money.
Anyway, you can call. It was Emperor Palpatine, if you're out there wondering, folks. So,
that's who it was.
If you want to call or text us, you can get in touch with us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling hotline at 901-683-0989 and chastise Jay about his lack of knowledge about Star Wars. Or
He's fine.
I don't think he really cares.
He doesn't.
It's like anyway. And also, if you want to watch the show and see what Jay looks like. There's a couple of platforms you can use. Go over to the News Talk 98.9 The Roar's X page and check it out over there. And then you can also go to the News Talk 98.9 The Roar's Facebook page. It's the same feed, so basically whatever you prefer. And while you're on Facebook, scoot on over to the News Talk 98.9 The Roar's, scoot on over to the Tool Talk Radio's Facebook page and check out the page, like the page, share the page. And we should also mention, if you're listening to us on any YouTube or Spotify or anything, please give us a 5-star review and share it because it helps.
Please subscribe.
The algorithms like it. In a minute, we're going to get right back to our great moments in building history, discussing the Woodruff Fontaine House. But Allan, this is your time of year, and we got to, as much as I hate to ask, what is going on with Dark Oak Media this week? As if I don't know.
If Haunted New Orleans isn't totally dominating my ratings right now. Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you pop over to darkoakmedia.com, we've got a variety of shows that we produce, everything from cooking in a tiny kitchen to Haunted New Orleans. And, of course, being the spooky month, I got to tell you, vampires and the Big Easy is probably the biggest thing we got going all month.
Right.
But feel free to check out, especially the very humorous stylings of Scott J. Carroll over at Cooking in a Tiny Kitchen.
Yeah, check it out. And it's fun, And Scott's an interesting individual. He has a unique perspective on life.
He does. He's having a lot of fun.
You know how when you're at a place and if you've got kids with you, you go somewhere and everybody is looking at one thing, but the toddler is looking over here and they're fascinated by like a bird or a doorknob or something. Well, that's Scott J. Carroll.
Yes, it is.
He doesn't see the world the way we see it. So, for good or for bad, that's kind of a
generally for good.
Hey, before the break, we were talking about the Woodruff Fontaine House here in Memphis. If you haven't been, it's worth a tour. It's a nice place.
It is
I know a lot of
magnificent.
people there's events there. It's a fun place to get married.
I was about to say, were you about to say they get married there? That's pretty cool.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, there's a lot of and now that you're explaining this too, that they put a lot of thought into the acoustics. That open staircase makes a lot of sense to me as far as connecting the home.
Can they change the music that goes on in that music box? Like, could they play the wedding march theoretically via the music box? Because that'd be pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, take they're like giant records, Max. These things are like big brass-looking records, and I don't know what it would have cost, but it's made of wood, and and it has to be, I believe, placed on a hardwood floor so that the vibrations and everything go through. You don't just put this on a carpet or something. Right. And but yeah, Max, I believe that's the thing. And you took good care of those, because if you get dust or if you get any dings on it, it's going to sound terrible. So yeah.
Well, and also the Woodruff Fontaine also features a huge carriage house. Again,
right,
Mr. Amos, all about the carriages. Is beautiful, beautiful place to go visit and that type of thing. Now, it's 1871 versus 2023. 1871 does not have hospitals like we think of modern medicine today.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what it even looked like.
A lot of people,
at that point.
a lot of life happened at home.
Yeah.
I was about to ask you, you said 1871, and that triggered me because last week we talked about a very important event that took place in 1871, and that was the Great Chicago Fire. And so was the Fontaine House built in response to the Chicago Fire or a little before the fact? Because, as a result, you might have to think a little bit more prudently about, the way that you build your house, like the tiling, like the terracotta that it prevents like fire, that makes things fireproof or whatever.
No, not a thought was ever crossed.
Of course, it was probably a different scenario back then.
The
there wasn't a whole lot
the house
going
was
on
being
there,
designed a couple of years before it was built.
Okay.
So
yeah,
we're still at that era but you have made a really great point, Max, because there was a lot of stuff going on
worldwide. The world to them. Don't forget, back in this era, people were saying, we've reached the peak of invention. Nothing new can happen again. It's funny that they thought that. They're like, yeah, we've invented everything that could be invented.
Well, then everybody was also a closet inventor, and you had this huge outpouring of industrialization. You've got, we got carriage makers, we got assembly lines, we've got agriculture, we've got world travel. So, and
this is only blocks away
Memphis,
from the river,
yes.
And so you're seeing boats going up and down. You're seeing a lot of activity,
and you're seeing people from around the world.
Right.
So, kind of welcome to this, but also a lot of things happened at home. They still had midwives. Mm-hmm. So, I hate to say it, but infant mortality was fairly high.
Yeah. It was extremely high.
And, I'm getting up there in a few years myself. And, when you got to be old and feeble, they took care of you in the home. And when you passed away, you pretty much died at home.
Right.
And, and so the easy thing about haunted facilities is they love to tell you these lurid tales of, so-and-so passed away in this room. All right. Almost every house of the time,
somebody died in there.
Somebody died. Somebody had a wake. There was a fire. Somebody fell down a stair. It was just life.
Yeah.
But like all good places, you get the stories of the people that really love their places. Mm-hmm. So Molly Woodruff is said to still hang out in her room.
That's because we got to keep track of how many people. Now, you say that, Allan, but there was an unusually high amount of tragedy in this home. We had children dying. We had, didn't Mr. Woodruff get operated on his own dining room table or something die there? You talk about house calls.
That's a scene out of the Long Halloween comic book.
Right.
Yeah, they lose the child. Is what happened, and then they mourn him for like 3 months is what I looked at, and then he goes on some fishing trip or something like that and falls out of the boat, comes back and dies right there in that room again.
Yeah, it's
a lot going on in that room.
Yeah,
welcome to the time. There's a lot of tragedy, mm-hmm. And welcome to the facility. It's a big French Victorian. It's got the look. It's got the feel. So now to add to this, we're going to add some layers to this because back around 1929, the Woodruff got bought by Rosa Lee, who turned it into an art school.
Well, I wondered how many facilities this thing has been over the years because, I mean, it really is. It's a unique structure, and it's an event space right now. It's a museum. It would be a great venue for parties and things like that.
Well,
it
stayed in
an
art
art school. I could see that easily. All the rooms would be like breakout rooms. So,
you think about the rich texture of the history. Now we've got all the students telling stories about the ancient Victorian house and all that. And about 1960, they moved out and became the Memphis College of Art.
Now, I didn't know that. That's interesting.
So welcome to
the College
this
of
rich
Art was
history.
in there?
Yeah.
Wow.
So welcome to this very rich history. And today, there are a lot of tourist groups that go through because allegedly some of the past residents may or may not have left the building.
Yeah. And to the degree that they say it's haunted, there's a whole different level in this type. They say this is a pretty benevolent group of ghosts in there. This is nothing like, the Amityville Horror or something.
Yeah, there's no floating red-eyed pigs or anything like that.
Right. Okay.
The most common reported one is the fact that of Miss Molly Woodruff Henning can be seen sitting on the bed.
Right.
So they keep her bed completely roped off, but periodically, if somebody sits on the edge of the bed, you get the indentation of the weight.
Yeah.
And that is one of the most commonly reported historically ghostly things that happens at this particular house.
And there are people online who, if you look, will tell you, looking at YouTube videos and stuff like that, who will absolutely swear that they have seen, either her or seen this bed move as you speak.
There is a huge rabbit hole you can fall down with this, but highly advocate go visit this place.
It's great.
It is a trip through history.
It's a local treasure. Well, wow, where did the show go? We say it every week, but it's over. We got to get out of here. So on behalf of my buddy, Allan Gilbreth, and our pal Max over there behind the glass, and our good friend Jay Hill with Big M Roofing and Remodeling, I'm Joe Thorderson. Thanks for listening to Tool Talk Radio, and we'll see you next week.